You have a spare room? No, actually, I figured we'd just share mine. What? Hey internet, it's Jessica and welcome back to Red Embrace. So, in the last episode, we kinda went into an agreement with Isaac, more like he hypnotized us and forced us to become his assistant. But now we are officially locked in his route, and we're gonna see what kind of plans he has for us. Hopefully they're not terrible, because I actually like him, but we'll find out. It's all Isaac's fault that I've been swept up into this. If it weren't for his stupid invitation last night, I'd still be living my normal life, blissfully ignorant of vampires. An ordinary businessman, sure. Just like Rex is a pink bunny who vomits rainbows. Home sweet home. If only I could pretend all of this was a crazy fever dream. If only it was that easy. I end up tossing and turning in bed for what feels like ages until eventually, the exhaustion from tonight pulls me into a deep sleep. The early afternoon sun trickles in from my apartment, fighting through the storm clouds to arrive upon my face. I push myself off with a yawn. I can't say I feel very refreshed. The events from last night, the fight between Dominic and Rex, the vampires, I was hoping it was a dream, but it sticks too vividly in my mind, like a bad taste that won't leave my mouth. But I feel like I could draw some amazing vampire shit right now. It would probably land me on the cover of Teen Goth magazine though. Still half asleep, I mumbled to myself and put on a coffee machine. It's true, all this excitement's definitely inspired me a little, though I'm also too on edge to really channel it right now. We could just draw vampires! He could draw like Isaac, you know, and like make a comic for him. His words from last night are still ringing in my ears. Am I really in that much danger? Did I need to accept his offer, or is he just playing off my fears? Isaac reeks of sleazy businessman, and he does seem to have pretty questionable intentions, but I get the feeling he was telling the truth, and to be honest, I'd rather not take any chances. I spent the rest of the day on a few commissions, my eyes glazing over a little as I color and shade in the autopilot mode. In the last couple of hours before work, I decided to draw a new picture filled in my head. A looming shadowy figure in the alleyway. I make sure that the light is focused on the figure's bare teeth, using the memory of Rex's fangs as reference. It turns out surprisingly well, almost too well. When I get ready to leave for work, the sight of the darkness sky outside makes me tense. After Isaac warned me about the threat of being caught by a vampire, I can't get it off my mind, even if he was exaggerating. I better hurry to the diner before it gets too late. Hope that Isaac keeps his word. Alright, let's see if he's there. Luckily, nothing happens on the way to my shift, and I flicked on the diner lights with a sigh of relief. This crap is doing a real number on my stress levels, I'll say. Muttering to myself, I switch on the light to open after a little bit to prep work, and the night finally begins. Yeah, I'll have, just fries, yeah. Coming right up. Just a normal drunk customers. Hey dude, can I get an ice cream frothy thing? You mean a milkshake? Yeah dude, milkshake, that's totally what I meant, how'd you know? Average high as a kite teenagers. Nothing out of the ordinary, not yet. Something I glimpsed in the shape of moving outside the diner windows, although it's probably just a random pass-byer. But for some reason I have an uneasy feeling, like I'm being watched, and I'm not in the comforting guardian angel way either. Yikes. A couple of minutes before closing time, I moodily stare at the linoleum floor while wiping a glass. None of the people who came in here seemed like they were vampires, but then again, I never guessed Dominic was one either. At this rate, I'm gonna go paranoid and end up committed somewhere seriously. Good evening, is that my lovely new assistant I spy over there? An airy voice calls out to me, breaking my thoughts, and I realize a new customer has walked in. Hey, bae! No, not a customer, Isaac. Oh, so you came after all, huh? Glad you decided to give me a gift of your company. Now, you're going to have to work on that attitude of yours if you want to move on the corporate ladder. Pushing up his glasses, Isaac flashes me a cheerful, energetic grin. For someone who's got no problem blackmailing other people, he's pretty damn lighthearted. So, are you ready to head out? I'd rather not spend too much time here. I can already feel the grease soaking into my suit. Yeah, let me get my keys. He's such an ass! I can feel the grease soaking into my suit. As I close up the diner for the night and head out with Isaac, I can't help but feel a little relieved. Call me a coward, but having his protection is a lot more reassuring than going out alone. Is it worth the price, though? I guess I'll have to find out. Where are we going? I question Isaac as he extends an arm to call a taxi, and his golden eyes flick in towards me. Why, to our apartment, naturally. Our apartment? Mine and Luca's were roommates, since it makes our cooperative work a lot easier. He's out tonight though, so you probably won't see him. Are you disappointed? Not sure if I say that. I think the poor kid hates my guts by now. Isaac laughs when I roll my eyes, but he nods understandingly. You're not the only one. Luca actually hates me too. Well, can you imagine that? I wonder why, Isaac. What? Why does he work with you then? Convenience mostly. I just means to an end for him. He shrugs indifferently, apparently not troubled by such a thing at all. I didn't rope him into working with me, unlike you. You should feel honored. Honored's one word for it. Would have chosen damned myself. After a short taxi ride, we end up in the front of the much fancier looking apartment complex than my own. I follow Isaac inside, and we take the elevator up to one of the top floors. Oh, of course, it has to be fancy because, you know, Isaac is a businessman. Wow. The apartment we walk into is incredibly sleek, well, relatively to my own anyway. Even smells nice, a little bit like citrus. I bet these guys actually buy air fresheners. I hope it lives to your expectations. Oh, we're looking for another roommate, if you're interested. Rent isn't terrible if you split it 3 ways. You have a spare room? No, actually, I figured we'd just share mine. What? Of course, I should have seen that coming. Well, you're gonna see Isaac coming tonight, am I right? We share a room with him, hey! My unenthusiastic response is met with a little chuckle. Isaac closes the door behind us and clears his throat. A slightly more serious look climbing his features. Now, as much as I'd like to flirt with you until the sun rises, there's business to discuss. Why don't you take a seat, and I'll bring you coffee over. He motions towards the large sofa near the window. He then turns and strides off into the kitchen. Huh. I guess he's not terrible as a host as I was expecting, but this feels really weird. I have no idea why he wants an assistant or what that even involves. Probably something shady, though at least I might learn what's going on. As much as I hate to admit it, I'm pretty damn curious about the city's secret vampire network, which I had no idea about until yesterday. After I wait on the sofa for a little while, gazing out at the beautiful cityscape through the window, Isaac eventually comes back. Sorry for making you wait. I hope you like your coffee bold. I work the night shift, you know. I practically survive on dark coffee. Isaac sits down beside me on the couch, handing over the mug. I take a cautious sip of the brew, not expecting much, and blink in surprise. It's actually pretty good, and I'm a picky coffee drinker. Don't even try to complain that you don't like it. I can see your approval written all over your cute face. He beams at me in satisfaction, and I softly turn my head away a little bit. I really need to work on a better poker face. Anyway, didn't you say that there was a business to talk about? Ah, yes. Very important business, actually. So you best give me your full attention. Isaac sets his mug down on the table before turning to face me, his golden gaze glowing a little sharper. A key of my job, you see, is collecting information. To that, I need eyes and ears in a lot of places. You probably don't know this, but a fair number of vampires have frequented your diner. Not a huge amount, but it's still an important location. My mind flashes back to Dom at Isaac's words. I never would have thought of him as anything other than an antisocial guy if I hadn't seen him in the alleyway fighting Rex. Now, I could very easily spread the word that your diner will be the new temporary neutral ground for the city vampires. What? Calm down, calm down. It just means that a couple more booths will be occupied than normal. Isaac smirks at my alarmed reaction, winking at me reassuringly. And don't try to tell me that you're worried about overcrowding. That place is like a graveyard. Although, if your only customers are the undead, it might still be a graveyard, now that I think about it. Is he trying to be funny? Well, yeah, but won't it be dangerous? What if they attack me, or start attacking each other? Nonsense. They may be brutes, but they respect laws of neutrality. No fighting can occur on neutral ground. He sounds thoroughly confident, which makes me relax a bit, but only a little. The idea of the diner becoming a vampire den is pretty unnerving, no matter how you spin it. What's the point of driving more vampires into the diner? To collect more information? Precisely! I knew you'd catch on fast, Connor. I want you to listen to something in particular. Any vampires talking about a man named Bishop. Bishop? Isaac nods, his lips pulling together in a distasteful grimace. Yes, Bishop. Try to see if anyone's saying something bad about him or discussing the idea of a revolt. Anarchistic murmurings. If you need to, you can prompt them up a little, but don't arouse any suspicion, understand? He looks like quite serious all of a sudden, and the intensity in his golden eyes behind those lenses is a little intimidating. After hesitating for a good few moments, I end up offering a reluctant nod. It doesn't sound like much work, and if it's all that I have to do from keeping being someone's dinner, I guess it's worth it. Fine. You better not be lying about being on neutral ground, though. Good. That's all I need for you to do for now. I'll come to the diner nightly to check up on your progress, and I expect detailed reports. An airy grin flints back over his face, and Isaac reaches out to squeeze my shoulder. Rather than trying to move away, though, I study his face curiously as he leans closer. Why do you want me to listen for people talking about Bishop? Are you trying to put down some kind of uprising? No, very much the opposite. A cryptic smirk slowly spreads across Isaac's face. His eyes flash darkly behind the glasses, making me wonder what kind of plot is forming in that head of his. If you don't do your job well, I'll give you some more details. Until then, I'm afraid that's all I have planned to say. He takes a relaxed sip of his coffee, as if it's to signify the end of a particular conversation. I shouldn't really care that much about his motives, but now I can't help but be interested in them. I'll just have to wait until you trust me more to ask then. But there's another question on my mind too, an even more important one. Can I ask you something else, Isaac? Of course, I'll answer anything I can for you, darling. Your eyes. How did you gain that power? That hypnotic look? It looks like that question was the last one he expected to hear. Well, after being duped by it twice, did he really think I just forget about what happened? Soon, Isaac's brow furrows slightly, and he glances to one side with a wary chuckle. Right, I forgot. Strix would have noticed. Come again? Isaac shakes his head, letting out a faint sigh while pushing up his glasses. Never mind that. To answer your question, you remember how I said I wasn't really a vampire? The truth is, once every few weeks I drink vampire blood. It gives mortals a fraction of their power, and mine manifests as hypnosis. Oh! Okay, so he's not a vampire, but he just drinks vampire blood to gain some kind of power. So it's kind of like, if anyone has seen my vampire Let's Play, great game by the way, I would totally recommend that Let's Play, you should go to my channel and check it out. The main character in that game, Jonathan, he's a vampire, and there was one character who was like, kind of like, transforming into a different form of vampire, but he wasn't controlling it properly. A way you can fix it is if you let him drink the vampire's blood so he can become a full-fledged vampire and gain the proper powers. So it's kind of like that, which makes sense because I'm like, this guy is not a vampire. I get it now. He calmly gazes at me with his brilliant golden eyes, which are admittedly beautiful even when they're not swirling mesmerizingly. Really? They just let you drink their blood for free? Is it because you sell them information? Huh, it's far from free. I've got a certain deal with someone for it, you see. A troubled look briefly flints across his face. No, maybe trouble isn't the right word. It's more like a hateful look. Oh, so it's kind of like... It's probably blackmail. You know? Because, like, from the way that Isaac talks, he seems like the kind of guy who would blackmail people because he's a businessman, he knows how things work. But it looks like someone, like, outdid him. Like, a vampire outdid him. And he has no choice to do this now. That's my assumption. Like... He's forced to be involved with all these vampires just because one vampire has something over him. Seems like you're pretty deep in a vampire society for a human. Doesn't it ever get scary or start to feel like it's not worth the cost? Rich or not, I'd never be jealous of Isaac. He's playing with fire, except the fire has fangs and a strong appetite for blood. It does, you're right. The usual confidence in his tone vanishes for a few moments. I spent half my nights wondering if I'll be murdered the next day. There's not a single vampire I trust, and there never will be. But I'm not for the long haul, Kona. I've got too much at stake to turn tail and run away with a briefcase full of cash. He gives me a faint, wistful smile, one that looks incredibly tired. For whatever reason, a pang of sympathy cuts through my chest, even though I don't understand the circumstances he's in. Must be hard. I don't want you to get hurt. Don't run away then. Why is this locked? I just saw this. It's locked. I can't click it. Huh? Why? Okay. It must be hard, I'm sorry. I ran a hand through my hair, unsure of what I can say to ease the tense atmosphere. I'm sorry, I don't really know what you're going through, but I'm sure it can't be easy. I wish I could offer you more support. Huh, no need to pity me, dear. I've already got the base covered. What does that mean? What? He exhales a faint sigh while adjusting his glasses and then straightens up. Enough of my moping. That's all I wanted to talk to you about tonight, Kona. Rising to his feet, Isaac smooths out his vest, swiveling to my face. You're free to go, unless you're interested in, say, watching a movie or enjoying some quality time. No thanks, damn it. I would love to join you in some quality time, Isaac. I quickly push myself off the couch and offer Isaac the most skeptical look I can manage. You make good coffee and you may have pretty eyes, but that's all that's going for you, Isaac. How rude. I really think I have excellent fashion taste too. And obviously a talent for finding cute assistants. With a wide, charming grin, Isaac tips an imaginary hat to me, and I have to keep myself from cracking a smile. Oh my god, dude, he's too charming, damn it! In a surprisingly gentlemanly fashion, he escorts me down to the street and even pays for my cab fare. As the taxi drives up towards my apartment, I glimpse an Isaac waving in the rearview mirror until we round the corner out of sight. I wasn't expecting to arrive home in such a good mood, but tonight wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. My job as Isaac's assistant doesn't sound so bad, and I don't mind getting to spend more time in that fancy apartment of his. And I won't say no to free coffee. Maybe getting caught up in this vampire horror story wasn't so bad as I first thought. At least it brings a spice into my boring life, even though that spice comes at a pretty risky cost. Yeah, like the cost of being murdered! I'm so tired from the shift that, despite the coffee, I dozed off not long after hitting my pillow. As I drift off to sleep, I sense that I'm being swallowed up by a pair of radiant, hypnotic golden eyes. After that, the rest of the week was fairly uneventful. A few unusual guys showed up at the diner, and I caught the name Bishop a couple of times. It sounded like he was some kind of Boston San Friends vampire. No one seems to like him that much, but they also are pretty scared of what he can do. Maybe Bishop is the one that's like blackmailing Isaac. Each night, Isaac would take me back to his apartment, and I report everything I heard at the diner. He listened closely, asked a few questions, and that was it. We chatted a little bit about random things, and he always brewed me a fresh cup of coffee. I learned that Isaac was raised near Hollywood and met a lot of celebrities as a kid. He seems to be a huge movie aficionado. What does that mean? What? Too. He constantly raves about all his favorites to me. He's a movie buff! Curiously, though, he never said anything about what he did as a teenager or in college. A part of me wants to ask, but I wonder if he's avoiding it for a reason. He is. Oh, Luca! One night during the week, Luca passed by the living room, a suspicious glare on his face. I hope you're not leaving any grease stains on the couch, diner boy! Luca! Don't talk to my assistant like that! To my shock, Isaac actually jumped into my defense, and not in a playful manner either. Luca looked taken aback too. Isaac doesn't normally raise his voice. Jeez, what are you so worked up about, old man? Calm down. Yikes. Scrunching up his face up sulkily, Luca stalked back into his room, leaving behind an awkward atmosphere. That was about the only thing to note that happened during the week. The rest of our time flew by. Before I knew it, I was settled into the routine. Tonight was just another average night, except on a heavy storm pelting down as our taxi drove to Isaac's apartment. I felt a little disappointed that I don't have anything excited to report, but Isaac seems cheerful as usual. You know, I'm thinking about trying a different roast. I'm getting a little sick of the current one. You're pretty passionate about coffee, aren't you? What can I say? It's an important part of the job for the night owls like us. He elbows my side knowingly, his eyes sparkling behind the glasses. Can't argue with that one. We head upstairs like usual, and as Isaac goes to heat up some water, I let out a contented sigh. At some point, I grew pretty comfortable hanging around this place. Despite being in the posh apartment, something about it feels down to earth, just like Isaac himself. Appearances are really deceiving. Who would have thought that the fancy pants businessman was just a pretty normal guy? He's overly flirty and likes touching my hair too much. Whoa, what? Sure, but he's never been anything but kind to me, even though he's not getting a whole lot out of our deal. It's something about the way he always listens to me is so intently... Well, it makes me feel like a little special, as stupid as it sounds. Oh, Connor's having a crush on Isaac! Fresh coffee from my favorite assistant. Striding up beside the couch, Isaac offers me a mug, which I gratefully accept. Don't let Luca hear you say that. He hates me, remember? You don't have to worry too much about him getting jealous. Isaac lets out a playful chuckle, sitting down beside me. After a few sips of my coffee, I deliver my usual reports while he watches me, as attentive as ever. Once I answer his questions, he gives a silent nod, then leans back against the couch cushions. Normally, we start our friendly chatter at this point, but the atmosphere is a little different today, and Isaac isn't piping up like he normally does. Instead, the silence is filled with the sound of the rain that's pelting down, and gusts of winds that make the droplets splatter against the window loudly. Good thing we're not out there, huh, Isaac? Isaac? When I curiously glance over at Isaac, he seems to be gazing past me with a distant expression. What's the matter? Coffee grinds stuck in your throat? No, it's nothing. His eyes flick back to my face, and he shakes his head. Really? You look pretty lost tonight. When I question him gently, Isaac hesitates. Then, after a moment, he pulls off his glasses, his gaze fitting back with the cloudy sky. It was storming heavily just like this when I had my first run-in with a vampire. After that night, my life changed permanently. I couldn't see anything the same way. It was like I didn't belong to that normal human world anymore. He sighs, a grim expression settling on his normal sly features. There's no going back either. You, me, we both have to live the rest of our lives knowing that the monsters stalk the streets at night, while everyone else sleeps peacefully in their ignorance. It makes you wonder, what kind of other dark secrets are out hiding there? Are there horrible things around us all? But we only ever notice a fraction of them? Isaac's golden eyes close in front of me, and fleeting, wistful smirk forms on his lips. It's a little more sad than scary, don't you think? We're stuck in a shadow from now on, separated from everything else, in our own little world of darkness. His voice grows steadily lower, until it's barely audible whisper at the end. For brief seconds, I desperately want to lean in and pull Isaac into a hug. Do it! Hug him! He looks so lonely, so troubled, that it makes me wonder how much of his cheerfulness is just an act. He's been surviving in this underworld for a lot longer than me, and it's such a heavy burden to bear. But before long, his frown relaxes, and he slips his glasses back on with a playful sigh. Dramatic, huh? Maybe I should go into theater instead of business. You'd be pretty damn good at it. He laughs warmly, and I chuckle along with him, but I can sense that he wasn't really putting on an act. Yeah, of course not. He's not. The world we're stuck in is just as dark as he says, and every day passes. I find myself wondering if things will ever be the same again. Money in the BANK! What a dork. Finishing up my last commission, I push back on the computer and hop on my feet, letting out a satisfied yawn. It's time to head to work and probably go through another uneventful night. But at least I'll get to have some of Isaac's coffee and see his face, so it's not all bad. A few weeks would have passed since he first hired me, but it's been so quiet in the diner that I almost wonder if he didn't take me on just for a companionship. My shift kicks off pretty much like normal, with a regular drunk crowd stopping by at intervals. I spot a few familiar guys crowding around a booth, however, I can guess that they're probably vampires. Grabbing a cloth, I head over to the neighboring table and start swiping down, but I strain my ears to hear the conversation. Getting sick of this shit, man. We gotta do something about it. Keep your voices down, dumbass. An angry girl comes from the booth, followed by someone else's hiss. Don't like it either. I want to see this guy taken down, so we don't have to play by his rules anymore. Yeah, he thinks he owns all of us, doesn't he? Head vampire sitting on his fucking throne of skulls. Woo, scary. They must be talking about Bishop. By the sound of it, they don't like him either, but they sound way angrier than other vampires I've heard before. So what we can do about it? Join up with those stupid Siri guys? They're way too private and stuck up for that. The conversation suddenly goes silent. I realize that I've been standing stock still for a few moments, staring at the nearby table while trying to listen in. Hey, don't I know you? Oh, it's Rex! When drawing a sing-song voice called out behind me, I quickly turned to face a familiar figure standing there. You, Rex? What are you doing here? What's the matter? Your buddy Isaac says this place is the newest meeting ground. I don't mind either. It means I get to stare at your ass while you wipe those tables all night. Oh my god! He grins crudely at me, licking his lips. Deciding to ignore his comment, I glance over towards the other vampires in the booth, who are wearing similar outfits to Rex. Are these guys part of your clan? You nailed it, baby! Want some introductions? I bet they'd love to meet you. I think I'm fine, thanks. Rex snickers as I grab my cloth and hurry back behind the bar, not wanting to stick around for him to drag over. The group eventually leaves, and nothing else unusual happens for the rest of the night. I keep replaying the conversation in my mind, making sure to crystallize every detail so I can thoroughly report to Isaac. Sure enough, he shows up right before closing time, flashing me his usual warm smile. My little burger flip is looking delicious as always. Ready to go? Whoa! Oh, you have more serious face than usual, my dear. Something on your mind? I grab my keys and hurry up to Isaac's side, nodding eagerly. Let's wait until we get somewhere private. Private? Naughty naughty. He teases me with a chuckle, but his eyes flash sharply behind the glasses, and I think he's guessed that I have something important to tell him. Okay guys, I'm gonna end this episode of Red Embrace right here. So, we got to know Isaac a little bit better. I think, depending on like what choices I picked at the beginning before I got into a route, it affects like what choices I can pick, because I had no idea some choices would be locked. So that kind of sucks. But regardless, I'm gonna do both endings for all the routes anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But, we learn that Isaac is just trying to spy on the other vampires because he wants to take down Bishop, because he seems like the head leader of all the vampires, but nobody really likes him because he seems like a dictator type. Like, that's what it seems. And I'm thinking that this Bishop guy is blackmailing Isaac somehow, which is why he's involved with the vampires to begin with. But, you guys let me know in the comments what you think. And if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you know when I upload the next Red Embrace episode. And yeah, thank you once again to Argent Games for sending me a game key. I'm really enjoying this game. It's great. Like, I love Isaac a lot. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Come on, Laura. We can gotta get out of here. Oh my god! Nope! Get off! Creepy. And sometimes that brings people together in a not so cute way. Here are 6 terribly awkward romances in video games. Number 6. Cole and Elsa.